Is this the biggest fraud that is going to be found with Doge and trying to uncover all the craziness, all the corruption? So watch this clip, and obviously everyone's reporting on this. It is very extreme. I think the numbers they talk about here is close to 2 million illegal immigrants receiving Social Security numbers the last 3 years. And I believe 1.3 million of them are receiving maximum benefits like Medicare, Medicaid, and everything else off of our taxpayer dollars. Just totally and utterly unbelievable. And hopefully this gets traction and is talked about all week long.
Really a lot of waste. And so that came up with a big list of stuff they're working on. You've heard some of that already, but this is what jumped out at us. When we saw these numbers, we were like, what is this? In 21, you see 270,000 people, goes all the way to 2.1 million in 24. These are non-citizens that are getting Social Security numbers.
Yeah, this is a mind-blowing chart.
Yeah, just this literally blew us away. Like, we went there to find fraud, and we found this by accident. I have been from DC to Social Security offices to the border to track this down, and very good people have helped us along the way. I want to thank them.
Yeah.
This number, what this is when you come in the country, if you're illegal, there's a couple ways to come in. You come in through a port of entry, and you can tell them you're afraid, and they'll give you an asylum case. You'll get an interview, then you get in. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to just go to the border. Literally, this happened. I talked to Border Patrol myself. Elon was there too. I went to Laredo, and I went to Bronzeville. Elon went to Eagle Pass. You walk up to a Border Patrol officer, and you tell them you want to come in. They have a couple of choices. They could charge you with a misdemeanor or a felony under 1325, or they can make it an administrative offense, like a parking ticket, basically. They were told to do that, make it an administrative offense under the last administration. And then you go walk across the border. They do what's called a release from your own recognizance, and they give you an NTA, a notice to appear, which to appear to judge. The wait times on judges are like average 6 years. Look at Grok, you'll see it on immigration judges. There's only 700 of them. This is 5.5 million people. Okay, so what happens then?
Okay, so we got 5 million people waiting to get Social Security numbers. They're automatically given, uh, start getting benefits. All they have to do is fill out the paperwork that they're here to work, and the benefits start rolling. Why is it set to the max? Why is everyone receiving more than standard Americans, more than veterans, more than people paying into the system? It just doesn't make sense.
Once you're in the country and you got asylum through one of these pathways, and we mapped the whole thing out, you can apply for a work document. You file a 765, it's the work form. You get this form called the 766, that's the authorization, and then Social Security Administration automatically sends you in the mail your Social Security number. No interview, no ID.
So let's bring up the website, because I know people are going to have a hard time believing this.
And props to Mr. Darkins here. He's taking the angle that there's going to be so much pushback that this isn't even true. But after everything we've seen, I guess I'm not too surprised. But yeah, I mean, obviously, people working here in the U.S. get a Social Security number. You're paying taxes, but I don't think anyone thought it would get to this point. I'm going to skip ahead here a little bit. Um,
Programs or subsidized housing. I mean, that right there tells you where a lot of our money is going. Now, let me give you the step-by-step to make sure it is clear, so there's no confusion and you're not sitting there, oh, Elon Musk is making up a crazy statement again. Step number one, there is an official process to give non-citizens Social Security numbers. Step number two, Joe Biden allowed people to cross the border illegally and still granted them asylum, plus accepted their work document, Form I-765. And step number three, illegal aliens, these are immigrants who crossed the border illegally, were allowed to get the same benefits, which includes getting a Social Security number as legal immigrants would be able to do. And yesterday, we also uncovered how illegal immigrants were receiving tax returns from Jackson Hewitt, almost in the amount of $14,000.
yeah, so tax fraud, voting. I mean, I think everything's on the table now. Like the situation, is about as bad as anyone could have imagined.
It's worth just reiterating. It's not that it's not. People sometimes think that under the Biden administration that he was simply asleep at the switch. He wasn't asleep.
No.
They weren't asleep at the switch. It was a massive, large-scale program to import as many illegals as possible, ultimately to change the entire voting map of the United States and disenfranchise the American people and make it a
And guys, a history, if you dive into the history of Joe Biden, he's a lifelong politician. People have joked for years and years and years, since before he was vice president, that, his whole political strategy was just to give free things to everyone and then they'll vote for you. And he obviously took that to the extreme during his presidency. And I'm sure that they were super frustrated by his mental breakdown because they probably had the math figured out and thought they had it in the bag. They thought they had the second term bought and paid for.
permanent, deep blue, one-party state from which there would be no escape.
Look, if I hadn't seen this myself, I'm not sure I'd have believed it. I went through it myself and mapped it. And Elon is right. This is true. The defaults in the system from Social Security to all of the benefit programs have been set to max inclusion, max pay for these people. And minimum
Max benefits to illegal aliens. I mean, they're voting. It's, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess we all knew it was coming, but now here it is. And, yeah, I mean, you guys watch this. You can watch this whole long video. It's like an hour and a half. I'll put a link to this video as well. He does a good summary, but basically, yeah, I mean, just bombshell information. How close to the edge of this country come to just totally collapsing and becoming basically like a third world country. So stagflation, all that good stuff. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think this is as bad as it gets, or is there more shocking information to come on the atrocious waste in our federal government?